Oh, we did that wrong. And there we are. All right. Well, good afternoon or evening or wherever anyone is at. And I I didn't get to talk to anyone about it. Well, I think I tweeted about it once, but I got to play, what is it, Half-Life Alex on one of the headset gears, right? So it was like, so it's made by Steam and the headset. Oh my God, dude. That was so my friend, he's the one who has it. I never played it. And he was saying, he's like, it's the greatest thing ever. You know, it spoiled me to video games, whatever. And I had been in one headset before type thing when I was like, where was I? Like in Vegas or something. And you know, it was just like a simpler one. And the resolution, I was like, okay, you know, it's cool, but it was like way less resolution. I saw it on this, the resolution and what you can do is insanity, dude. It would feel so tripped out like when you're like standing somewhere because obviously the screen is right in front of your eyes, but it does make it feel like, oh, I'm in the corner of a room. If you just, and like the detail kept showing up, like you would get really close and you could see like dust and little pebbles on the floor and stuff. And when you started like the first of all, when you pointed the, you know, you have these like little almost like glove things on. I don't know if you want to count them as gloves, but they're these things. And when they put a gun in your hand, it was like the sight was like so accurate up and down. You know what I mean? It was like, wow, this is crazy. You could, there was zombies around and like they'd be dead ones because I only played, maybe I played for like an hour and a half, right? So I really didn't even get to much, but I was just walking around and stuff, and they would have zombies. You could take the gun barrel and put it in the zombie head and like lift his head up with a gun barrel in his mouth. You know what I mean? It was like this just crazy stuff that you could like do in it. And I mean, every like there was this. What's another weird thing is, so you're if you're in it, like I was in it for like I don't know, I'd be in for like 45 minutes or something, and then you get out and it was this weird thing where you can tell your brain was not like resetting, but it was like it's caught between two worlds. You know what I mean? There was like this little thing where you're used to turning differently and stuff. And man, that it blew my mind. I was just like, have you ever been in any like the virtual headsets things at all?
Yeah, recently I tried Resident Evil 7 in a headset.
Okay.
Um, so unfortunately, because in my later life I've developed sort of tinnitus. Um,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
when it sort of kicks off, it also vertigo basically. So basically, I get very disorientated.
Oh, that would be rough because you know, your brain knows it's not real and all. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I done that for about 10 minutes, and I
Oh,
just because I can tell when things are going wrong because I start to heat up, and so I just go right. No, that's it. I've got to take it off. Even though it's like walking around a spooky zombified house, looking in pots and pans full of yuck.
yeah.
But yeah, you see so much detail, but it's yeah. I had
Well,
to take it off.
that was one thing. So his house, he like cranked the air conditioning, but he put it in the upstairs room. So like I would stop like after a half hour because dude, you're like sweating in there. And like it was like a head be like, oh, I don't want to sweat up your headset and everything, you know what I mean? So I put something on, but I was like, yeah, you and like the other thing is like I'm used to like, oh, you're sitting down playing a video game, and here you're kind of standing and moving, and you know what I mean. So I'm like, okay, you're not sweating a lot, but you know, you just start in the heat, you just start sweating a little, and it's like, I guess it would probably get people to exercise more for that because I could be convinced to move for a good video game. And hello,
Well,
Wolf Lord.
you say that. Yes, hello, Wolfram. I said, hey, dude. Saying what just there, where you said like you could like people wearing these and like exercising and stuff like that. That was actually part of the premise to Eric Klein's Ready Player One,
Oh
where
yeah.
the internet, the Oasis as it's called,
Mm-hmm.
so interactive and that, and people are plugged in for so long. And Wade, like the protagonist of it, through his adventures, he gets all these sort of haptic suits and stuff, and
Yeah.
he gets a treadmill. So it's like, you know, he's actually getting exercise because he has to do this to actually get the game going. Hey, Humanity, hello.
Alrighty. Thanks for making it.
Um,
And that
but
was
yeah,
the
it's not good that
yeah, I
one.
could not believe the when the walkers they would have the things walking over the city and it was just so crazy. I didn't even get to like the scary parts really. You know what I mean? You'd have a couple things coming after you, but I mean they're like they have these huge things that chase you and I'm like, well, I'll have to play it again because it kind of blows my mind. I didn't know there was going to be that much resolution and I didn't know I thought it was going to move kind of like clippingly, you know, like you're like moving left, and it's like like clipping along instead of like a nice smooth move, but it wasn't. But
No, you have to be careful with those things because obviously you could lose yourself.
oh
And
yeah,
you know, the Wednesday night paint overs are not a thing because you're hunting down space zombies, and you know it's
I,
work. It's just not gonna work.
I was in Discord, and I after I seen this, I go, dude, I go, that's it. Everyone's going to be living in a pod, eating bugs, and on their headsets because I'm like, I could totally see I don't know, just like even when the resolution's like even better and you can like build your people will be like building their own world, inviting people to it. And I was thinking of a cool one. I'm like, they're gonna have something like Raiders of the Lost Ark where you build your catacomb or whatever, and then someone has to raid it, you know, like Tomb Raiders. So like they'll be like building the thing and then you'll be raiding it and stuff. But it was just amazing. And I was like, I said that in Discord. I was like, yeah, everyone's gonna be living in the pods. And he goes, I think it was Gamers Man. He goes, yeah, remember when everyone said rock and roll was gonna ruin the world and TV was gonna ruin the world? He's like, you're just old. I'm like, yeah.
Now, now you mentioned that about rock and roll's going to ruin the world. I actually my premise is actually the world got shit after the fall of disco. Once
you
disco
might,
stopped, everyone was like, "Woo, woo!"
you you
Like,
might have a
great time, you know, wearing obscenely coloured outfits and you know walking around
yeah.
Brooklyn with pimp canes and stuff.
Disco held the world together.
Yeah. But you know, ever since you can track it back, you go back from like the last sort of like the last days of disco, and from there shit got real.
Yeah,
But
that was my amazing adventure for I think the weekend or whatever was on that headset. And but I tell you what, I didn't. I think maybe next time I'll have to check out. He has one of those like painting programs where you can stand inside the virtual thing and kind of like sculpt or paint or whatever. And I have to
you're
try
getting all
that.
matrix now.
What was that?
You're getting all matrix on us.
Uh oh.
It's like I'm going to be sitting here, you're going to be in the matrix, and suddenly you're going to appear on my screen, like going, "I'm trapped. I
You
can't get
can,
out."
and that's what I almost thought because I know I can stream it. It won't do it justice. Like it's totally different. I've seen people stream from it and it shows the screen, but I mean to like be in what you're doing or whatever is just it is like wow. I mean, and they're so the things are expensive, you know what I mean? So it's like I can't just run out and get one. Not that it even suits a purpose, but maybe like down the line, I was like, man, I could because if someone has access to that and they're working on it, I guarantee you it just changes a lot of like how you work or how you see. You know what I mean? If you have the opportunity to work on some of that, it'd be pretty intense.
Uh, just as a sort of little forethought, we've all seen this evidence, but like, just remember what happened to Mike TV.
And wait,
Right?
what happens in what?
With Mike TV in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh, very true.
You start mucking about with TV, going into things and doing all that sort of jazz. You're going to come out like that big.
Yeah.
And how are you
I
going to
know.
operate your life back then?
That's the
Hey?
thing with me. And he doesn't even, what's funny is I know what it is, and he doesn't even use it there. I was like, he doesn't really, and the only thing, he only really likes that game. He's like, I've tried the other games and they're all kind of half janky or whatever, and he's like, this thing is just incredible. But then, he hasn't played it in forever. And I get it because, like, for something like me, it would be, I would all want it and then I'd get it and be like over it in a few weeks anyway.
I've first done VR back in the sort of early '90s out in London. There was a place called the Trocadero near Piccadilly Circus,
Okay.
and they had like the first sort of VR games where you stand in a ring, like a little ring around you. You had
Yeah.
the headset on, and you go
Oh, I've
round
seen those. Okay.
and shooting it. And that was a bit trippy then, and that was really basic. But obviously, we're used
Yeah.
to the graphics at the time, sort of thing. Looking back now, you just go, "Wow,
Yeah.
that was very square and blocky." But even though like you're standing there, and I remember just like looking around, like knowing that people were behind me, and I'm looking
Yeah.
direction. And there's like the scenery, just sort of it does take some getting used to, but obviously with the whole tinnitus thing,
Yeah.
I miss out on that side of it. I would love to do that, but no.
There's this thing. So you in that game, you can point at something if it's a small object, and you basically have like a grav gun where you can pull the item towards you. So you can just like if you see an ammo clip on the floor 30 feet away, you can just point at it and you do the hand motion like you pull it towards you and then it flings and then you got to grab it with your hand. If you fling it and miss it, it goes past you, it'll fall on the floor. But what after you wait, so you do that enough, and then after you get out, it's like, oh god, I gotta go get my water bottle. I can't just like fling it to me. So there's this weird thing of like you like some of that because you're like, oh, something's over here, and even though it's a video game, you can totally just point at it and pull it, and it's a made up object. But there's some little bit of like your brain that is saying like, hey, it's cool to be able to pull that. It's just weird when I like unplugged it for a while. You're like, oh, I can't just grab, and so it's just it amazed me.
Yeah, it's when you're sort of your fantasy seeping into your reality. You're trying
Yeah,
to
yeah. It's like this is quirky
you're
thing.
in trouble. You really are. So much trouble. There's other droids we're looking for.
Yeah. What have you been up to for the week? You work on anything or watch any shows or what's up?
Um, watching shows. Yeah, well, watching show wise, I started watching the Clone Wars last week.
Okay.
Because where I think I mentioned on our last one, where I've been listening to my friend's Star Wars based podcast sort of thing. It got me interested in actually watching it, and after getting through the first episode, which I tried before, and I just got halfway through and I couldn't handle it, I started watching it. I thought, yeah, it's not too bad. It still hasn't changed my opinion on Jar Jar Binks as
Oh
yet.
yeah.
But apart from that, hobby wise, I did paint that dude.
Wait, I'm
Which is
zooming in. I want to see if
a
I can zoom.
paintover. So
I actually want to see. Hang on one second. Here we go. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
so this is a paintover because I did have 9 Legios.
Okay. You have
One of
9
them was Legio of
Legios.
1, and I just thought there's no point in. I wanted to sort of build up the other armies before doing anything else. So I've done that now.
You
So
Unity said I tried to pinch zoom on an actual photograph the other day. And Griffo, thanks for asking. I'm actually doing decent. I don't know, like the last week or something, just a little off. Like I even noticed it, like trying to do these paintovers. I feel just a little off, like artistically, and I don't know why that is. And I don't like hound on myself. I'm like, just like work self through it or whatever. But I've been
it's
slightly.
Wednesday. It's Wednesday. All those troubles are behind you.
I know it does feel like it feels better. Then we have some people join us, so that makes me feel good.
Yeah,
And
here we got Wolf Lord Lewis, we got
I
Human ID.
know Wolf Lord.
So what more could you ask for?
It really can't. My life was pretty simple.
I would say with Human ID, I'm actually my friend Brian Jenkins, who every year in October on his birthday, or this year after his birthday, we do a big Star Wars roleplay game session. And he actually sent me through some 3D printed versions of my character, who's called Grabo, who's a Wookiee. and I've got to paint these 3 different versions of myself for the game. So that's what something else I'll be working on alongside some Titans over the coming sort of week or so. Trying to get the same paint scheme on 3 Wookiees. Yeah, I've got ideas. I've got my brain working, and yeah, I'll get there in the end.
Well, I think Humanity, didn't you say you had a couple days off? You get a couple days to relax in there. The sunlight's starting to go away. I'm like, oh no, like I see it in the morning going. I'm like, okay, get like, and I made sure I had been I've been less active this summer than last summer. Like, man, you better. And someone reminded me, there was when they're like, hey, you want to go golfing? I was like, I don't know. He's like, well, remember when you were all cooped up in the winter complaining that you couldn't get out? He's like, it's going to be winter soon. I'm like, oh, that's right, And so I was like, all right. And so I've been doing more like, the last couple weeks. And I'm hopefully supposed to go out golf again like Friday. That's a good one for me. I think we've talked about before. You can trick me into exercise with like a sport, but like to just say, hey, go do this. Like if you put me in that headset and gave me some reason to move, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll move all around. But if you just said, hey, move all around, I'm like, get out of here. Forget
I got zombies
exercise.
But that's the thing, is I sort of got into that headspace where a friend of mine sadly died suddenly, and it set me up then to basically, if you want to do something, that's as long as it's legal and you don't
within common sense reason.
If you want to do something that comes into your head, you go, oh no, I'll put it off. Don't, just do it.
No,
because
for real.
If you don't, you'll never get the chance to, and then who knows? You could be struck down by a low flying owl.
Yeah, dude, it's count on nothing for that.
Yeah, so I'm of that mindset now, where if there's somewhere I want to go, of something I want to do, I make sure that I do it to scratch the itch, as such, get it out of the system.
What did you say that again? What you told me about the pre-order for Titanicus?
Oh yes. Today is the 3rd anniversary of the pre-order. so August the 11th, which is also my eldest brother's birthday today. So happy birthday, Paul, wherever you are. Not that you watch this. It was the 3rd anniversary today of the pre-order for the Grandmaster set when they first released Adeptus Titanicus back in 2018. So next Wednesday is the actual day, or the date, sorry, because it was a Saturday, but the date when Titanicus was released. So, and nobody I've seen on social media today has mentioned this fact.
Yeah, you're hardcore when you remember the release date for the games. I'm lucky if I'm within the year range. Like if I got the decade right, I feel like I'm doing all right.
Yeah. Sorry, my brain just went there for a second. So yes. Oh, also next week, next Saturday, the 21st and the 22nd of August, is the Titan Owners Club Titan Walk.
Dun dun dun. Where is it at?
So that's everyone's doing their final prep on their Titans and rushing through builds.
So that's why I've been seeing more of those on Insta and what I've seen a couple of them. Like, okay. I mean, we talk about it all the time. I knew it's coming, but I didn't put it together until you just said that.
It was actually early on today. Forge World actually put out a post saying, "Show us your your big machines and stuff like that."
Yeah.
And somebody mentioned it in the Titan Owners Club. Said, "Look, let's just bombard them." So like everyone was like putting down
perfect time for it. Yeah.
Yes. Just crash it. Crash the algorithm.
Yeah.
Unleash the Titan.
We'll win. We got big machines.
Yeah, so I'm only going up for the Saturday, but
Yeah.
it'll be a day long remembered.
Yeah.
So
I'm
I've
gonna
been
get
doing.
some pictures.
Oh, don't you worry. We got a professional
Yeah.
photographer coming down to take some snaps for starters. Plus, you've got a unprofessional photographer who's going to be there taking photographs. So yeah, I'll get you some interesting angles.
Yeah. I want to put like a poster on the wall, like the thing with a shoot the upshot. And Humanity asks what you're drinking. What are you drinking, Lee?
Oh, it's Bud.
Oh, see,
It's a
I
soft
know. I
drink.
keep saying, I guess maybe because it's like 2 o'clock when I start, but I never like have a drink, and I'm like, I should one day.
Well, it's 2 o'clock. You know, it's not the
I
morning.
know. It's whatever. We're live streaming.
Yeah, I live stream drinking. That's part of my gig.
Yeah. I'm a featherweight. Like I think I would drink like a drink in like a half hour, and I'm like, well, guys, I'm gonna log off and take a nap.
But I suppose I pace myself. I'll say I pace myself. Well, that's my third since getting in today. So
Yeah.
which is
I
about
feel like if I do have to have a drink, I will have a Stella. So I'll have a drink from over there, and then you'll have Bud from over here, and it'll be like a cross continental thing.
yeah. It's Stella. I used to drink. I can drink Stella. I like drinks that just I can just drink and not think about.
Yeah.
I like buds like that. Jack Daniels and Coke is like my catnip.
Yeah.
Um, so I would literally, I have actually just drank entire bottles of that, just mix them together, and it's just like soup, 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 and nothing. And then next minute, oh, my bottle's empty. Um, and vodka and lemonade
Oh yeah. I
is
like
quite refreshing.
I like it, and I like vodka, but the thing is, the vodka dehydrates me so fast. Like even I don't even have to drink a lot. Like I have a drink or two, and I can feel like, oh man, my body's like really thirsty for water afterwards. That's my only bummer about vodka because I enjoy it. That's what I had. My friend was making two while we were over there. He made whiskey sours, and I had a couple good whiskey that he made them really well. That was some. That was a good little drink. Who let the dogs out?
Uh, to me, little monkey
Let me crop this again.
is he's got a bit of a sore on his rump. So he's had to be shaved and given some sort of creams and stuff to
Yeah, yeah.
cover. But yeah, he's a Tibetan spaniel, and apparently the story is behind him is that Tibetan monks bred this dog, this particular kind of dog, to resemble small lions. So they're quite, fluffy and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
also be good at barking to warn of any approaches up the sort of mountainous pathways to the monk house,
Yeah.
um, which is all well and good. But when you're living in an urban area and there's people walking around all the time, your tendency for him to bark is enhanced, I find.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's all right. I keep on comparing him to Louis XIV because he's all fluffy and ruffly. I've accused him of being French several times. So, yeah, that's a dog for you.
Oh wait, I should put on my special pen tip. God, everything I have is
Stealth
clean.
mode.
Everything I got all kinds of stuff. I've like, what do I have? I have 2 Mountain Dew bottles, 2 water bottles in here still. I've like open boxes. It's like, okay, it's time to. I gotta do a serious studio cleaning. Every time I do this show and I start moving stuff around, I'm like, oh gosh, clean everything.
Make sure everything's okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Fenris. Yeah, that's it. How old is Fenris? How old is? Hey, Jen, thanks for making it. I think if it's the same, whoever, I think it's probably Jen with the cool color paint schemes. I like those. Oh yeah, that's right. I wanted to go over. I wish I wasn't half out of it these days. I wanted to look. I'm gonna look. I'm gonna pull up some of the pictures people submitted. Hang on. How do we do this? We gotta go here. Oh, wait.
There's no mess here. There's no mess. No mess at all. Everything's
Right.
tidy.
One. Oh, of course. One, two. There. This one. So Blast from the Past submitted this, and he knows. I think it's a he. I don't know. They they know what I'm into. It's another. I love this photo angle and the birds. So I want to. I don't even know why. This is one of my favorite stuff. Is the birds in these miniatures, and the same with the cherubs. I always want birds and cherubs. That photo, I just did one of his last week's, or this one would have got it so bad because it's got really cool lighting from in the top right over there, and it like makes his like cape glow down here and everything. This is an awesome like just photo composition. Probably he's got artistic skill, whatever way you want to cut it. Wolf Lord got this one in actually a little late. I already picked this morning, but that's a pretty. Those things are big, man. It seems like the Warhammer miniatures got a lot bigger in general. I mean, I know it's a mount, but oh, that's a great one.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, I like. Is this a custom chapter or is that
That's White Skull, I think.
okay? Yeah, that blood looks
Oh,
really cool on there.
I'm assuming so. I don't know if
Yeah, it might be.
the Swiss though.
Oh, does he have tattoos on his face? I think he's got tattoos. Yeah, that's kind of cool. I like this one a lot. I love the golds. Golds get me. And the more I look at stuff, I'm like, yeah, that's like when I think of doing my enforcers, I want some part of it gold like this. I gotta save this photo for that kind of gold. Gold sparkles.
So you must be feeling good because you're bringing in the sparkles now.
I know. I feel a little. It's funny. I just chat with him. I was like, okay, it's hobby. It's like no one. It's like, it just feels good. This was a little out of focus on the back. Like the front was real in, and I don't know. I couldn't clean it up enough. This is a cool one though. That's a
Oh yeah.
serious dragon he's on. Who? This is a Primarch, right?
Yes, that's the lion.
Okay.
Who could be sleeping. He could be awaking for you.
Yeah.
You
This
don't.
one, oh man, that's why I don't have enough time. This is cool. I like. I could play like the blade at the top is kind of like overexposed,
That's
and I
also
love
cool.
that because I could play into it like maybe it's not overexposed. It's just the way it is, but it has a good light source, and like I could really have that light coming off the sword on that. It's a great photo.
Actually, he's got two heads.
What was that?
Lion. He's got two heads. He's got the helmeted one, and then he's got the one with his locks
Oh
out.
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, because he's like magnetized, probably.
Yeah, they've been doing this recently. Well, with the line they have anyway, where they've given a head with a helmet.
Griffo. Oh, that. Oh, so you can literally do it. That's pretty cool. I like that idea. Griffo, I have this one saved. I don't know if I'm going to get around to it today. I may try on stream because I do have this one saved. I want to do it with that glowing blade. I haven't done, I love the shields. I'm still a sucker for shields. Any of these with a shield, and like these are good because it also has that stupid little, I forget what they're called on their chest plate, that like mini shield.
What the sort of the tilt shield sort of thing.
Yeah, like there's like a jousting rest, whatever.
He probably does have an official name. I just call them tilt shields. So
No,
knights have
this,
them as well.
if I wouldn't have had done one of his recently, this is awesome, and the photo is cool. Like you could really have him firing. I love that. Like the mud and the chipping on this is just so awesome to me. Nice and gritty. This one almost got picked too as like the space wolf. I like that. That gray blue is nice. I I don't know what army if I did Space Marines now, I don't know what I would pick, but it might end up being Space Wolves again.
I was still recommending you listen to Spear of the Emperor by Aaron Dempsey Bowden.
That, and I actually like Tome Keepers too. I like the, wow, I didn't even see
I
this
saw
one.
your
See,
post earlier posting of how many tone cases DLCs you've got. 12! I am the king of the Tomb Keepers!
I don't even know how this happens. I scoured this thing. I don't even know if I hit like on it. I never saw this submitted till just now. Oh wow, that's beautiful.
Was it Yanaska or something, I think?
I don't even know if I've seen the model. Man, those wings are so cool. Like I love that inner kind of like how it's lit like that. Wow.
Oh, Jen, was that that's the they did it with the GW Rabute Guliman, didn't they? The Forge World one didn't. He only had his normal head. His normal head in that is pretty cool. The plastic GW one they done for the triumphant box set. I'm not a fan of that one. The Forge World one was just epic. But yeah, GW1 did come with two heads. He come with the helmet version and without, but he's the look of the Forge World one much better.
Oh, I never even seen this wizard either. I like this wizard. That's a. I know I never saw the model actually or this paint. That's a cool wizard. Huh. I don't even know. Do I follow Ash? I don't know if I'm. Do I follow? He follows me. I gotta follow. That was cool. These I wanted like this one. So the only thing that throws me on some of this, that little bit of a downward angle. I was so tempted by this. I'm like, yeah, I just because I wasn't feeling in my best artistic shape today. Gosh, I think I'm a sucker for gold. I don't even wear gold. I don't like gold jewelry. I don't like gold anything. But you slap it on a miniature, and I'm in love with it.
I love
I
gold.
love gold. It was meant to be a dragon horde. Yeah, John says the head in that one is a bit of a shame. Helmet version is the best on the Gilliman. Yeah, the Forge World Primarchs are cool.
With the Forge World like artwork, Gulliman, the picture you see in the Black Book of Gulliman's face, it was based on the actor Mark Strong,
Okay.
who he was in films such as Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. He's in Kingsman. Have you ever
Oh
seen?
yeah.
He's like the butler, the Scottish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But he also done the voice to Captain Titus in the most awesome Space Marine game they brought out back in 2012.
Okay.
And he was the voice of Titus, and he was just like, oh, just fantastic.
And Jen, I think I'm going to end up doing this one at some point. I might even, what I think I'm going to do is there's a couple from here that I like, and I might just end up doing them on Sunday. Yeah, and you had said something about like your colors are so cool. Like it's always like a bunch of stuff I could tell I'd be scared to do, and like you put the nice, it's like the bright blue. It's like a dark. You have the dark kind of mini, and it's got the light, but then you still got the light blue in, which there's no way I could pull that off. And yet here it looks so cool. And I love the action pose on the sculpt like that. So I'm gonna end up doing this one. That thing is amazing. I love this too. The blade on this thing is awesome. I just love the look of that. Yeah, you really go for it with colors and you don't botch it. Like if I go for it with colors a lot of times, I'll just totally botch it and it'll turn into mud. Like that's why I was like, you generally have a bunch of different colors in there, and then somehow it all like comes together like that. And that's why I pick up some good tips by looking at everyone's stuff. Yeah, that's really cool. See the white on the ends, like in the cracks on that, is awesome. Everybody was kung fu fighting. I have. That's the one I got up
Let's
here.
kick off past those lightning. Ha!
Oh, I got a thing for apothecaries. Can't help it. Big fan. The only reason I don't like when there's some of them are chopped off. This one was like it kind of locks me into stuff. This one, yeah, someone came to brawl with this one. That's hilarious. And then
There's a
this, I was scared. This one was so cool to me. I'm like, oh, and I should probably take. That's what I should have done. This one might get done too. I have to copy all those skulls on the thing and have it go back and forth. You know what I mean? Drift it back into space and then have it lit. That's how I'll do this one. I kept staring at it and I'm like, it's to me, it's beautiful.
you gotta
And
do
I
it.
didn't know what I would do, but now it just came to me. I don't know, like maybe I just saw it bigger on the screen. Is duplicate those heads and really make it like go back in space, and I won't have to mess with the dark too much. I can just leave it dark. Huh.
I love the way the ropes just sort of just hanging off of them.
Yeah. Yeah,
Sweet.
and it just the soft light and everything. To me, it's just a beautiful. Yeah, Grippo. That one does have a lot of DACA.
Daka Daka. There's never enough Daka. Never enough.
Adam, I don't know if I know Adam. I was like, I like the Armigers, and I wanted to try with that one. I think that was all the replies in this. Oh no, there's more. I got to
Oh,
admit, so I don't. What is going on here? Don't help me. I don't freeze up everything. Oh, okay, interesting. That's weird. I never had a problem like this before. That the proportions, I'm not like the biggest fan of. Like I think they're cool. Like they're perfect for what they are. I just kind of would go like I like the other AOS orcs, like you know what I mean, the bigger, chunkier type ones, just cause. But I really like the look of like they have a good feel to these. You know what I mean? And I dig it because it's a variation of the other orcs. You know what I mean? It's like yeah, you can have two different kind of orcs, and they're like slightly different or whatever. So I've been enjoying that, like just seeing a lot of these, and I love all the I don't know. Like these are super detailed with a bunch of stuff all over them. Sometimes you can go too far, but I think they pull it off. I gotta see it. My computer's kind of half froze, so I'm gonna switch here.
give it a switch.
And two, there we are. And let me see if I can chop this out. Hey, I'm sure it'll chill out. There. Now I'll actually get some work.
That's what you say.
That's what I think.
That's what you hope.
And back to chat. There, got chat open. We're 39 minutes in.
Wow, it seems like we've been on here forever.
Just going along with the new Snorbcast.
I think this is our
slimmer
27th episode.
Oh, the new Stormcast, you would say, are a little slimmer? Interesting. Because I saw some of that. I'll have to look into that. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I obviously know they're changing like some of their proportions and all that kind of good stuff.
So that they showed off the incoming new Emperor's champion for the Black Templars.
Yeah.
Which, yes, I do have Black Templars as an army. Uh, so, see, recently I've been thinking about like downsizing my collections because I'm
Yeah,
not
for sure. I can see that.
um, and then GW just bring out some Black Templars stuff, and I'm like, no, don't do it, because yeah, I've got quite a few Marine armies now, but I'm thinking of downsizing. I actually swapped out. I don't know if I said I swapped one of my old tanks, which was a Forge World kit, a big Shadow Sword anti-Titan
Oh
tank.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I swapped that with a friend of mine who's a big tank head the other day. So it was a good swap. You know, he's got a result out of it because I know that if I sold it on eBay, I would have got a lot more for it. But I don't trust eBay people.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, I'd rather give it to somebody who's going to
You
use
want
it.
it to have a home. Yeah, because that's kind of a special piece, one of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it helped him out, give him what he needs. Plus, he works for Forge World anyway, so
Oh yeah.
with the old swapsies, he saves him a bit of money. I know he's having all that sort of financial stuff going on at the moment, as with a lot of people.
Everything is half a mess. I'm like, in what I'm an upbeat enough person. Like I'm in, as far as I know, like good physical health and all that stuff. So like, I can eat every day and I'm not in pain. So I'm pretty much like if you give me cover those basics, dude, I'm good. Like, and then if you toss me in air conditioning, then I'm really good. So, but man, it has been like a wear. And then, you know, there's some people working like, I don't know if you're like a nurse, whatever, and you're around a lot more people, it's going to be like a lot different degree of stress, man. So
Yeah.
I just hope, people can maximize the summer or whatever, because this winter might be blah.
Well, that's where the human ID earns her time off because she's working as a nurse out in her neck of the woods. So you know, she's on the front line. Bless her.
Yeah.
Helping all the sick people.
I'm in a room trying to do paintovers. I did another got another batch of the photos for Mantic, so I got to do. I'm liking them. Thank God. Because I get nervous before anything. Like anytime I have to do a paint over, and I was like, oh gosh, it's a company. They're going to be paying me. So the company ones always are like a whole nother level of nervous. And then I'm like, you know, and I think of like, okay, they have their fans that like the game and everything. So then I kind of stressful, like, is it really? And I did some of them, and I really like them. And I'm not like I'm always I don't get high on my work, but like, all right, this is cool. I'm like, you can get a little high on your stuff, so I felt good. I was like, all right, these are coming out cool. Like they got a different enough like variation between them, and then like I upped the backgrounds and stuff on them, and Mantic has some of their own background material, so I've been putting that into them and everything. So it's been a lot of fun. I'm actually excited about them. So I'm going to have, I think one of the Sundays again, I'll see if Rob wants to come in from Mantic and talk about them or something, because they're halflings, so they must have. I think they either hired another sculptor or whatever they did, but like their halfling sculpts are really cool. Like I'm like, all right, those are legit awesome, and they have a couple of them that are in there, and so what sucks is I don't even think I'd want to play a big army. Like, part of me would want to play a big army game, but then you have to have friends that want to play a big army game. You know what I mean? And so, like, I was kind of tempted. Like, oh man, I have to think about it. And that's why I figure this winter I probably will do some gaming this winter. I'm gonna get
If you're not
some.
playing golf,
Yeah, I know, and I need to stay active. And I can't
it's
afford to buy some big VR rig to run around in.
as I say, so when you get your like for your first lot of models and you're sitting there and you're looking at them and you've got your iPad out going, I can't paint the paints onto these models. What's happening?
I know.
I can
I
make the
took
pictures
this
look awesome.
photo. So I bought. I like this photo. I bought these models. I think who, not Lonely. Yeah, Lonely Havoc. He was selling one of his old armies, so I bought it. And I was trying to do some examples of like photography for the models, like composition and stuff. And so I actually I like this photo. I think this one turned out cool. I was like, man, I should do this as a paint over. I thought that was a great composition. Cool model. So I have a Beastman army. I bought that thing probably like 8, 9 months ago. I finally took out like 2 units. So it's like still all in the box, bubble wrapped.
We're all nice and safe. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
Getting that gun firing.
Did you watch the new Ted Lasso?
Yeah.
Lead Tassoo coming at you?
Yeah. Lead tassos. No. Snap out. But yeah, no, it's yeah, that's the thing. That's the other way I tell what day of the week it is, because obviously, Wednesday is here, Friday is Ted Lasso, um, and Saturday for my stream. So that's
So
it.
usually I can't even remember. Oh, that's what I watched. So most of the time I don't really like something like Ted Lasso. I will actually watch the show. You know what I mean, right? But like a lot of times I'll put something on, but it's just like background. I put on what did I watch the other day was I put Last Boy Scout on because I'd watched some of those. I had watched some of those like the movies that made us or whatever, and I was like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
like this was like I forget. I think it was like 91 or something. So I put that movie on and had to watch it again.
I actually watched Sicario.
Oh yeah, yeah. I liked
So
that movie. I think if I remember. Yeah, I did. I liked that.
I, I'd heard of it. I've never bothered with it before, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I just kept meaning to watch it. I suppose because I watched one of those like YouTube things where they had I think it's Black Rifle Coffee do a
Yeah.
YouTube thing, and they have like veterans talking about the reality of scenes and movies.
Oh yeah. Like how real is it?
Yeah, and they said like it was quite good. There was a few things that was wrong that they was picking out on, sort of thing. But and I just thought, well, yeah, and it's just sitting in my head. And then the other night, I was flicking through and I saw it there, and I thought, I'll put it on. I've actually had the same feeling as well about watching Red Dawn again after
Yeah.
seeing somebody's post up on Facebook today talking about Red Dawn from like this. Because I remember it when it first came out, and I watched it when it first came out.
Yeah. So did I.
Well, on VHS anyway. And I was just kept on thinking about, I might fancy watching it. Wolverines. Those Nicaraguans and Cubans and Russians coming into Colorado. Damn them! There was like a whole spate of like Cold War, World War
Yeah.
movies and TV
The
series back
it
in the.
makes me think of whenever I think of those Cold War movies, and it makes me laugh. I always think of like Firefox or the
I was
Clint
just thinking
Eastwood.
that. I was just bloody thinking that.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Russian.
Yeah.
So many English actors in that as well.
I haven't seen that movie in forever.
I absolutely loved that movie. It was, the whole thing, like infiltrating into Russia, and then basically
Yeah.
all the help he was getting, and then like having these flashbacks of when he was in Vietnam. And
Yeah.
then he's in this like the MiG-31 Firefox, and
Yeah.
he's just like, woo, off he goes.
I I like the some of the Oh, wait, what did Jen just say? My poll has ended. I'm going to be painting a bright neon squig. I'm going to start painting it now, keep you guys on, but I'll not be typing because I'll be painting. Oh, we get to be there. So we get to be part of Jen's painting history when she started her first squig. It'll be bright colors, and she did it live on this show. Woohoo!
Squeal like a squig.
Yeah. The squigs are nice. It. I saw Gamesmail had played a few games this weekend for like I don't know if it was his first ones of AOS or whatever, but anywho, he snapped a few pictures and it looked really cool because it was all his was all painted, the opponents was all painted, plus they had really cool scenery. You know, and I'm like, oh gosh, you know, it just looks that these miniature games look so awesome on the table.
But that's the thing, like you get some people that really put it in with
Yeah,
their whole, like not only the models but with the whole like table,
yeah.
scenery, and everything. And when you get those people together, actually, just had a notification from Crystal McDowell going live first week
Oh yeah.
because she's obviously squeaky as well. Um,
Yeah, I check out Crystal's stream. I have
yeah,
that on mine too. Yeah.
so you know, there's with squigs, you know, they are just wonderful little creations and critters that you can just look at, and you know, you just love them. You know, it's like with a lot of orc stuff. You
You
just
can do
cute.
so much with them. They have good. They're always like moving and stuff too. You know what I mean? So they always got like good, crazy action poses.
Mm. Big teeth,
Yeah.
big pointed teeth. Just now, I'm just remembering Monty Python and the Holy Grail. It's a rabbit. Oh, that rabbit's got a mean streak a mile wide.
I'm trying to think. It's probably been a good 20 years since I watched that movie.
I think it's on Netflix.
Hmm.
Get onto that. The old Monty Python. Life of Brian was always my favourite one.
Oh, Life
It's a
of
very
Brian.
naughty
Yeah.
boy. His name was Naughtimus Maximus. He promised me the world, he did, and all the gold I could eat. I just loved that film. It was just completely bizarre and, you know, just out there. And that was my first real introduction to Monty Python. And obviously watched all the old Monty Python Flying Circus stuff afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, there's Monty Python, The Life of Brian, all the controversies that surrounded it. But yeah, great
I
stuff.
watched a few of those. What did I also watch? I watched something on uh, David Geffen, like just like what he did and everything. So he was like the big. He
Music,
started out like music producing, and then Geffen Records, and then went into like
all grunge.
DreamWorks and everything. Founded DreamWorks, so it was just. I think I got caught in the nostalgia trap over the last like couple of weeks. So I watched the How It's Made on a couple movies, and then watched the thing about David Geffen.
I watched How It's Made on Aliens the other week. That was pretty cool. That was on YouTube.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I'm not sure if I mentioned it. There was a big amusement thing in London about almost 30 years ago called Alien War.
Huh.
It was like an attraction. You'd walk around 15, 20 minutes and get scared shitless. And well, one of the stories is that they had Michael Jackson turned up to have a go of it. He sent his bodyguard in there, and his bodyguard came out really quite upset, and so he didn't go in.
Oh, that's funny.
But like there was other things like the New Zealand rugby team that was over here at the time, and their number one player, who was called Jonah Lomu, who sadly is no longer with us. He was like this big Maori, you know, huge, tough, but he was fast as well, sort of thing. And I was watching again. I was watching this other thing the other day where I was talking to some of the crew members that are friends of mine, and they were saying about they went in there, and at this one particular moment where the alien comes out, and Jonah Lomu's basically bolted for it, fight or flight, and he's legged it, and he's turned where you should turn right to go towards the exit. He turned left and ended up in this like bit where there's like the alien queen sort of nest or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, and they had to send a guy like a marine in there to find him to take him out, uh, or a bunch of drunken firefighters who went in there. And when a similar situation where the alien was coming at them, sort of thing, and the marine like he's like, "Quick, go, go, go!" and he's like,
Yeah.
opens the
Yeah.
door, bolts out, turns round. They're not there. And he goes, "What? What the hell's going on?" And as he goes back, the firefighters come out carrying the xenomorph. "Oh, we got it, mate. Don't worry."
Oh, and if you are watching and you don't mind, or if you actually like it, please hit that like button on here. I always forget to do that, but I would appreciate any likes or that stuff.
But anyway,
If
yeah.
you
Sorry.
liked it, you don't have to if you don't, but you can.
In 2 years' time, it will be the 30th anniversary of Alien War, and there is a group that is formatting basically a big event in England for aliens. There'll be like an alien like event type thing during the day, and at night they're going to be doing a sort of mocked up alien war return sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
That's the plan. They've got 2 years to go, and there's people. There's going to be like a boot camp. And everything for it, and they're just trying to get this thing up and running, and basically just to celebrate 30 years, get a load of the old staff back, and they're all working on getting their.
God, that's been 30 years.
Well, they opened it when Alien 3 came out, and they actually had Sigourney Weaver and a lot of the cast and crew come to the grand opening. Like Sigourney Weaver actually opened it with a flamethrower. They gave her an M240 flamethrower that was basically not foam but smoke, and she was like, "Woo!" like that. And then they took them round the attraction sort of thing. So, but yeah, that was. There's loads of footage on like YouTube where you see all these interviews and stuff. Of the actual attraction. So it was actually like London's best attraction for a couple of years.
Wow.
Because it scared the bejesus out of everybody. It was just like, it really did. And because all the people that participated in it basically got off on scaring the crap out of people.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're like, yeah. It's
So,
like a VR headset before there was VR.
yeah, they what do you call it? You said they're saying like virtual reality. This is total reality.
Yeah.
They're basically like
reality.
But yeah, it was.
Eroos, thanks for making it.
Eroos. I was only thinking about him earlier on when you was talking about Dakar.
Yeah.
Eroos likes a bit of Dakar.
Yeah, he does. Who doesn't though? Gosh, you know what I'd like to do? They don't make that Speed Freaks game anymore, do they? Like that's its own. Like that came and went kind of deal. I think.
Yeah, it's like a lot of their sort of little bits and pieces they do. So yeah, they just basically released it, and then once it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
But
not like
and they still use those miniatures. They still use those miniatures in 40K itself, though, don't they? Like the game. Maybe not.
No, I think like the way a lot of hobbyists see these sort of little game releases that come out, like Curse City and everything like that. People buy them mostly for the models.
Yeah, yeah.
Some of the models in there are really awesome, and you just go, "Wow!" Or it's great value for money, and they just get in there for the models. Like I bought obviously like the Betrayal at Calf and the Prospero box sets for Horus Heresy. I've never played the game that it was attached to. I just bought it for the actual figures, and I'm not ashamed to say that because, yeah.
You and I said I would love to go to that, but I would be on the ground constantly because fear triggers my cataplexy. And I would need a strong guy in a helmet, but it would be fun.
Well, I've got a helmet, although I am being set up as a corporate dirtbag. I actually got my friend who's the main organizer. He done a load of like identity cards and stuff with like barcodes and stuff like that. And I am a corporate dirtbag. I'm the corporate sort of security type thing for like Wayland Yutani. And I said, oh, here's a sort of division I'm part of, is the strategic acquisitions division. So if you're looking, because I love, like, as much as I love Dune, I love Aliens.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the whole thing about Aliens is it is all the corporations. The Earth government is nothing. It's all basically Amazon and and
They did.
Microsoft and everything.
I just dabbled into it, but when they were doing Prometheus, they really did some far out there advertising with it. There was all the website stuff, and like they had a lot of crazy threads all over the internet and everything with those companies and all that stuff. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, that was trying to work it. I think with Prometheus, obviously there was. I don't mind the film at all.
I liked it. And I can see it left me confused in some parts, but then again, my attention span, even in movies, isn't the best. So I let some things slide, but then I have to talk to other people, like, did I get this confused or did I? So there was a few things that I had to like listen afterward and make sure they made sense. I was pretty much right on with what I was thinking, but there was a little couple quirks in there that I thought were off, but I actually really dug the movies. Like there was some cool, and the guy who played whatchamacallit, the android or whatever, I thought was really good.
Oh, Michael Fassbender.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. See, the way I look at it is that basically the aliens that he found, um, they hadn't been in contact with humans.
Mm-hmm.
So the aliens that you see in um, Alien
I've
and
been sucking on people. Yeah.
have already had exposure to humans, and it's basically because the face huggers are different because of whatever animal it face hugs and stuff. It
Yeah.
evolved through that genome sort of thing. So how I see Prometheus and the second one is that through David's interference and manipulation of the DNA and all that sort of thing, he's setting up, because obviously, the derelict spacecraft they find on LV-426,
Yeah.
it's been there for millennia, but those eggs might not have been. They
Yeah.
never the eggs. The ship's been there for a long time, and so they assumed the cargo hold had also. So you don't know. Like, David could have just gone in there planting these eggs in that area, and whatever, just set off the little distress beacon,
Yeah.
way army divert the Nostromo there, and then next minute they're having dinner and out pops a little chest burster.
What are these things right there in the center, like attached to its legs? What are those?
Oh yeah, they're just little. Not actually sure. They don't have any purpose whatsoever. They're just like little bits on the back, maybe as counterweights or
Okay. Oh, probably so. Okay. So I didn't
there's
know.
no
I did know,
necessary.
like they're funky and I like the addition, but I was like, I don't know what they actually do.
Yeah, they don't do nothing. I just paint them Balthasar gold and then cover them in Agrax. There's something there as part of the leg mechanism. So as I say, it might be some sort of like counterweight or something.
Are you gaming tonight?
No,
No.
no gaming. It's sort of just, I don't know, died a death a bit, I suppose. So
Yeah.
um, yes.
Everyone's out doing their thing.
Yeah, it was also one of my friends' birthdays as well, who would be in the gaming group. So um, and to celebrate, I'm just going to have a little dizzy
That's why
fish.
I'm glad I got some good gaming in when I was younger. Because then all your friends go, well, they go have lives and they go get married and have kids. And it's like, got all this stuff going on. Why can't we just play games for the whole summer? What's up,
Yeah,
everyone?
it's just one of those things. Obviously, trying to organise, gaming and stuff like that is so much harder as you get older because you have more responsibilities.
Yeah, yeah.
So
No.
no role play for me tonight, unfortunately.
I found out this won't help me because I don't play that much, but it's kind of cool. I can an Xbox and I pay for their Game Pass or whatever because I don't really buy games, but with Game Pass you can just cycle through a bunch of games. You know what I mean? Because I generally don't even like play much, but I'll try things here and there. But I can. So now with their cloud gaming, I can log on with this iPad and play like Halo 5 on the iPad through the cloud. That kind of blows my mind that now we're at the point I'm like that's cool. I can get access to whatever. I haven't like hooked up the Xbox like wirelessly to the Xbox controller wirelessly to this iPad, but at some point I want to try it out just to see how it goes. I was like, are you serious? Like I could play like Halo and a lot of those. I loaded it up, but I didn't hook up the gamepad, so I couldn't like what I mean, get into the game because the buttons and stuff obviously didn't. But
Yeah, I need to do that with mine because I think you still got to have the Xbox on, but then
I
it's
don't
done
think
right.
so, no, because I logged in and played one without it on, dude.
Did you?
So they have a couple games that are what are they? They're kind of done so you can touch the screen, like touch whatever. So they have a bottom section. And so I had my Xbox off and I just went to the cloud, hit the game, and I was like, well, wait, do I have to have the game loaded on my Xbox? You didn't. And it didn't even want to load it on the iPad. It literally plays it off the cloud, which kind of blew my mind.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
pretty amazing.
Yeah, and so I didn't like get to try it more, but I'm like, okay, wow, because like I was like, wait a second, I'm like Halo 5, I'm like, what do they mean? I'm like, I can't even probably fit Halo 5 on my iPad, so I punched it up and I got right to the load screen, and I just didn't have a controller plugged in to hit A, so I was like, oh well, let me try some of the touch active games, and they worked or whatever, so I'm gonna mess with it just because at some point, but I thought that was rather interesting. I'm like, all right, that's cool. And my attention span for games is like so short that the Game Pass kind of fits me. It's like, all right, I still like kind of like games and want to see something that's going on, but don't get fully into them. How come the dog didn't even? The dog has to be coming in shortly. He's usually
It's,
the dog usually stops in by now and lets me know.
it's only like 5 minutes past 8 here, anyway.
I know.
And I've just done my. Oh, I need to get more beer.
You're allowed to get a beer, dude. Do
I'm going to go
you?
get.
I forget. Are you working weekends?
Yeah, yeah. So
Oh,
at the moment, because of the school holidays, I'm taking an extra day off during the week to have to look after my kids,
yeah.
and with that, it's takes up a lot of time. So I don't actually get a day off as such. Um,
Oh
so
gosh, I
when I'm going
know
back
it's
to work, I'm working full on, like um, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Then I'm off Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and
okay.
then back around again, sort of thing. So that's for August because school holidays. Um, but yeah, it's pretty constant, and work is always busy, and just getting tired.
Yeah.
Just sometimes you just need a day where you don't do anything.
No, you really do. And that's what I had been so wrapped up in this paint over thing. And plus, like, whatever I'm doing now is so ambiguous where it's like, I don't, it's like not like I'm working full time, doing this for a thing. So you just have to put in all the effort. And then I'm like, and so I have a tendency to kind of like almost overwork, it's like, okay, well, if you're not doing it, you know what I mean? And I, I made sure I'm like, all right, you got to take some like days off just to like chill your mind. Don't be afraid to get away from it. Like get some creative energy back and, do some stuff right now. That's too why I've been like upping the golf. I'm like, all right, I got to get out there. And I do I like going in the mornings, just kind of nice and quiet out there and go suck at a sport.
Get that sports inside you, boy.
Yeah. I played it. What's bad is I played a couple good games. Like the last couple I played have been some of my best. And then I'm like, you got to brace for okay, then it's all going to fall apart. And you're going to shoot a lot higher and be like, damn it.
Yeah, one of the few times I played golf in my misguided youth, I remember doing a par five in about 34.
Yeah.
I got right into the rough, and this was a really bad golf course. It was a 9-hole golf course. It
Yeah.
was before work on a Sunday, and I got right in the rough, and I was basically trying to chip the ball up and then
Yeah.
hit it in midair. And yeah, so that's like 2, 4, 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, par five in 34. Although I did make par on a par three.
Oh, there you go.
So yeah, that was my crowning achievement. Crazy golf, I'm not too bad on, but
I've never done that. I think you said I want to do frisbee golf, and yeah, you and I said everyone is burned out. I think they are. That's why I'm kind of worried about how's the scene over there like. So if you go into, say, I went into like a Walmart here, I would say the stock is probably on the shelves is probably 30% less than before the pandemic. Is that
oh
same
yeah.
sort of thing going on in your stores?
So yeah, it is. There are like times when there's like empty shelves and
Yeah.
stuff. Um, Now the thing is with us, our situation is slightly different because we thought it was a great idea to do the old Brexit thing as well. Uh,
Yeah.
and commit to that because the people had spoken,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
which, yeah, it's just,
Oh, so yeah, you got the additional, all the changes to trade and all shipping and all that kind of stuff on top of it.
yeah,
Okay.
so basically everything's taking longer to get into England because of all the new factory, pardon my French, sorry,
Yeah, they don't know.
all the new sort of, like regulations and stuff because we're not part of the sort of the free market anymore.
Yeah.
So basically, beforehand, Laurie could drive onto a thing onto a ferry or the Eurotunnel, come into England, and be through custom checks and all that in relatively quick sort of.
Yeah.
Now it's like forever and a day. Plus, like the GDP is being drastically hit as well because free market. You're not paying over the odds. Like when the vote first went through back in 2016, the in the referendum for Brexit,
Yeah.
uh, like in my trade, all the European manufacturers put their prices up straight away next day.
Yeah.
And to be fair, if the shoe was on the other foot, I'm sure British manufacturers would have done likewise to Europe. So
Yeah.
it's not as if, oh, those people and all that. No, there's business people. They're going to do it. Everybody's going to do it. As soon as there's a chance to earn a buck or a dollar or a franc or a euro,
Yeah.
they're going to do it. And so they did. So the prices went up then. Prices have fluctuated and gone and settled and whatever. But, at the end of the day, we're taking ourselves out of the largest trading bloc in the world, in the
Yeah.
free market of the Eurozone sort of thing, because they don't want immigrants coming over. We want to rule our own country. We already did. They've been lied to so much; it is ridiculous. Um, you know, where they're saying things like, and everything they've said hasn't come true. Nothing they've said has been done. Much like the war out in America,
Yeah.
getting citizens to pay for it. It doesn't happen, But there are, unfortunately, so many people which aren't really up on everything,
Yeah.
really into knowing what's what, and because they're maybe a bit prejudiced, or they got
Yeah.
ripped off by somebody who was of a different race or religion or whatever, in a shop once, they hold grudges, and you know the Great Grey Army, which is the old people of England, when they were sort of campaigning for the whole Brexit thing, they had this. They had a bus, a coach, basically, written on there. We pay the EU 150 million pound a week to be part of it. Why don't we just spend that on the NHS? You know,
Yeah.
all the old people go, I go to the doctors a lot. I need all these surgeries and all that sort of stuff. Sounds like good news to me. 150 million, I can get some pimped out hips, or I can get replaced or something. And loads of them voted for it because they're thinking that they're going to get, the NHS are going to get 150 million a week extra.
Yeah.
Now, I'm no financial expert, but I know that if I found £100 in my trouser pocket, that I wouldn't go, I know, I'll put that there, sort of thing. I'll go, all right, well, I'm going to keep a bit of that for myself. I'm going to go now next week, so I'll put some of that there,
Yeah.
and I'll do that. And at the end, you go, oh, I've got about a fiver left. I'll put that in my bank account. Nobody does that. So everybody's been lying to each other for forever and a day, and it's all crap. And that's basically it. It's all crap.
Lesson of the day. It's all crap.
Yeah, it's all crap. Sometimes if I was that way inclined, I would be the worst dictator ever. So I would be absolute tyrant and just go, no, shut up, bollocks, just do this. But that's the thing. Everyone over here is like, there's still that hint of sort of empire about us. Oh yeah, we were great and all that sort of thing. But we weren't really that great. We were an empire. Empires aren't great, especially for the people right at the lower end of things. You know, Roman Empire. All the Romans done all right. All the people that were slaves weren't particularly doing great. Unless they
They
were
weren't
really,
happy.
yeah, unless they were a really talented gladiator slave and they win all their matches, they're given their freedom. But the whole thing about it was that you have a lesser class to do all the dirty work, and that's what people want. They don't want to do the hard graft. They don't want to
Oh,
do the
yeah, that's no one
work.
wants to do really anything anymore half the time.
Yeah. So it's laziness and blowing air up their asses, basically.
Yeah, a lot of, yeah. There's been a lot of
Glasses.
like I've seen a lot change, and no, like even mine, it was different because you could see a lot of people were already getting away from like you had grown up like farming or anything like that, and just a lot of people weren't used to any kind of like work a lot, and I see it here. I'm like, there's some like, yeah, I'm like, I have no problem, do whatever you want to do, but like if you're not like especially trained in work and like just the way things are, you got to work to get stuff, you know what I mean? It's like if you're not used to it and you're not, that just like into what it takes to get it, man, it's
Yeah,
tough.
Aaron's just picked up a very, very valid point there, which comes from Eddie Izzard. But do you have a flag? It's basically how England conquered the world by the cunning use of flags
But do you have a
and
flag?
the gun. But yeah, it's funny. Like I do enjoy history and stuff, and it's funny. Like when like England, conquered India, sort of thing, or gained India as part of its empire. When English sailors first went over to India, um, they were basically kept waiting for meeting like the royal families of
Yeah,
India
yeah.
because they were scummy, dirty buggers. Back then in Elizabethan times, you'd be lucky to have a bath once a year.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's a whole load of these people sitting on a ship wanting to speak to
Do
you.
you see that?
And,
Like,
and it was the Indians, they refused to meet with us because we were dirty. And basically, they had soap. We got
mhm.
soap from India. And then we brought it back to England, going, look at the wonderful things we've got, sort of thing. And within
Yeah.
about 2 or 3 years, they started sort of advertising it was the other way around, that we introduced soap to the Indians. Marketing, early marketing. But that was taken from an Eddie Izzard program he'd done. I think you can actually see it on YouTube, which is basically he goes through England's history because England had been conquered or invaded several times throughout its lifetime. It was like 4 episodes, and the whole thing about the English was that we were adaptable. We would take the good stuff from somebody's
Yeah,
culture,
yeah. You have to.
you know, um, and that was one of our sort of strengths. Um, but on the other side of things, with the whole colonialism and stuff like that, and being a bit hoity-toity as English people can be, it was
Yeah, I mean,
not a
like,
good.
some people have like dogs about countries. I'm like, okay, I'm like, with countries, you can dog and like you go back, like everybody was killing everybody and enslaving everyone forever. Like if you look at it, like, come on, man. Like I get it. Like everyone, they'll be like, oh, this, that. I'm like, okay, man. Like look around, like go dig through. Like everybody was getting like brutalized, dude. Like just like consistently. And I think like my always take from all that stuff is like, all right, dude, it's like scientifically proven that wherever you have a whole bunch of people, you have a whole bunch of a-holes, dude. It's like that's really the problem. Like it's like kind of like human nature. It always like goes awry when you get and like it just amazes me with that. And you'll like to me you'll see like I don't know, just like all the vitriol and like stuff like that. Oh my gosh, I can't be around that energy. You know what I mean? And I'm like, gosh, like that's how it all escalates into stuff. You know what I mean? It's like no one's into like de-escalation or any of that stuff nowadays, man. And it's like,
Yeah,
oh, I feel as far as the world goes, like yeah, you have a lot of stuff, but it's like there's a lot of issues. But in some ways, I'm like, okay, yeah, well if you were like 500 years ago, like how are you living? Is it any better? You know what I mean? I'm like, gosh, you look around at like the history. I'm like, you'd probably pick right now. You know what I mean? If you were like right now or 500 years ago, you'd be like, yeah, I don't want medical from 500 years ago, and I feel like I'm super lucky just living where I live. You know what I mean? I could have been born in a really poverty country. You know what I mean? Just out there with anything. So it's like man, you just kind of roll the dice and it's like, hey, I lucked out as far as that goes because I got a bid somewhere. So it's a problem.
yeah. It was there was another program that was done by another English comedian called oh 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 bugger, I can't remember it. Al Murray, right? Now, Al Murray used to play a part on this a character called the governor or the landlord sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he's like his stage show, like Al Murray himself is a really intelligent, um, a historian. He knows so much about
Yeah.
history. Part of his act was like he'd have people chatting out, um, basically going on about there was not a country on earth that England had not defeated in a game of war. Um, and like people will shout out random countries, and he would just go, right, well, this was this, that country, somebody saying out Spain, he goes, Spanish Armada, we defeated you at Trafalgar.
Yeah.
America, they go, oh yeah, we beat you in the 1812 war. We also
Yeah.
around the White House. You don't remember that.
Well, yeah, that's right.
That's why it's called the White House because you whitewashed it.
Yeah, yeah, they got burnt down. I don't
um,
think. Yeah.
But like there was they go someone shouted out Belgium, and they go Belgium. Well, Belgium actually was a part of France, and it was like because of all these treaties and everything, and basically in the end we created a country out of thin fucking air. So I call
Yeah.
that. Um, he goes on for about 3 or 4 minutes of all these countries and people like naming these countries left, right, and centre, and he would just give an answer for everything or a date or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, he done a series of programs about why does everybody hate the English. So he went to
Dude,
like
what blows my mind is like something like World War II wasn't even that long ago. Like the whole world's like there's like everyone's out there killing each other, doing all this stuff, dropping massive bombs, and like that wasn't even that long ago. I'm like, oh gosh. I'm like, I think some people feel like stuff can't happen like that or whatever. And I'm like, oh, I feel like, dude, that wasn't even that long ago. You go back further, like you get to a point where like literally like everybody's killing everybody for just like the longest stretch of time. You know what I mean? I'm like, it feels like this is one time where it's like at least parts of the world are somewhat simmered down a little bit. You know what I mean? But I'm like, it was just World War II, not like, you know, almost not my lifetime, but you know what I mean, just before it, man. That's just like crazy to me. And it's like
yeah,
you and I would hear like different stories of people who like escaped it, like because I just knew people who got out of all that stuff, and that was something that always stuck with me. I'm like, dude, I'm lucky. Like, I don't have people like chasing me down with guns every day. You know what I mean? I'm not worried about like carpet bombed outside my house. I'm not worried about there's no food, anywhere. And it's like, gosh, like I don't want to take that stuff for granted because who knows these days.
no. I'll say I have to agree with you and I do there about putting women in charge. Uh, I in that sort of position, I think they are less likely to fucking go batshit crazy and have a war.
Kill
You know,
everyone. Kill everyone.
it's just some of the countries you look at where they do have actually women leaders, and they actually do pretty well. you know, um, but at the end of the day, as a race, humans are pretty shitty in most situations. Um, but yeah, I don't think that with over here with the English, we do have this thing about oh yeah, crimson. Um, we do have this whole thing about oh yeah, we're the British Empire and that we ruled 2/3 of the planet. We got the
Yeah.
Queen, um, and that if it wasn't for us, everybody would be talking German. You know, which okay, fair enough, but that we have to move on. We have to be sort of. You need somebody to sort of lead the way, and for a long time that was America. I remember being a kid and wanting to move to America and be American. Because that everything we saw, the whole not necessarily the American dream,
Yeah,
but
it's
from where
because
we
it
were.
seems like everything reaches a point where you adapt, and sometimes they take some good stuff and they'll go forward, and then it just all gets like half corrupted or whatever anyway. You know what I mean? It's like this weird thing where you see it coming out of World War II, and it was probably like more people were united and more people were kind of on the same page and almost unified by it, and then it kind of all just drifts apart, and then all the bad stuff continues to grow. You know what I mean? It's like they had years and years of like the whole thing, just like with how the market works, and then the more concentration of money, and you know what I mean. It's like it's such a complex like thing. You know, I don't think there's like an easy solution of like, hey, if we just lived like this, it'd be better. Besides, like not being a dick, but
it was something. It was either FDR or Truman,
yeah.
um, that basically instigated the tax system, and like
Hmm.
rich people were being taxed like 50% tax.
Yeah.
All that money went into the infrastructure on building all the roads, all the sewage, and all the things for cities and everything like that. And then I think probably around about Nixon time, I suppose. Then all these sort of the tax break things started happening. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, we give rich people tax breaks. They're not paying the same amount of tax, so that's why we've got billionaires. You know,
And now what's funny is like they're talking about taxes. I'm like, okay, taxes don't even matter at this point because the rich people now, it's like billionaire companies who it doesn't matter. They'll just shift money between things and keep it somewhere else. So the countries don't even matter now to like the biggest companies because they're like, yeah, we set up shop in every country and we'll just go to where there's the least, you know, least resistance.
yeah.
So it's
And
like
do you know what's that the setup for?
a whole lot of things.
Aliens,
What was that?
aliens.
Yeah, the corporations, bro.
Everything's run by the corporations.
Yeah,
So if,
and I
if you
mean
ever
that's what.
the alien role play game, all this like all the space exploration, there's like five. There was five regions, sort of thing. It was divided into five regions. They're all owned by corporations.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
You. What was it? You. What?
Wayland Yutani, there was
Yeah,
Hyperdar.
Wayland Yutani. I just remember it was Wayland, and then it was Wayland Yutani after.
Yeah, but like when like over here, um, I think they realised through like the credit crunch and everything that basically they bailed out all the banks by saying like, oh well, public funding will help keep the banks solvent.
Yeah, yeah,
All the
yeah.
bankers were like taking chances with
Too big to fail.
completely fucked up, and obviously once was it Franny and whoever the banking institutions in America went, it completely collapsed. So many more everywhere else, sort of thing. So it's like that whole domino effect. But the British government, well, the public will sort of public purse, and wages haven't been going up, and taxes have. So the cost of living is harder
Yeah,
because,
yeah,
like, I remember, like my grandparents and my parents, well, my mum did, like they had savings. I've got those savings.
yeah, yeah. No,
I
it's
can't
hard
afford
now.
savings. I have to spend petrol to get to work. I need the food to feed myself and everyone. You know, um, so when I look back in the past, where you had like all these older generations that had a new car, they had this because they saved up and invested. The younger generations haven't got that, and it's all like the credit cards and everything.
Yeah. Oh well, yeah, that changed big time.
You know, that's trying to buy a house now. Um,
Oh
unless you're
yeah, you're saving
not
for
a good
yeah.
job, buying a house is really really hard.
Hmm.
So
I mean, it was hard. It was hard back then, but it's even harder now.
yeah, and that's the thing. It's like I actually looked up on like one of those like online um, estate agents, who you call realtors,
Yeah.
right? The house that I lived in as a child, which I know my mum sold in 1984 for £30,000, is now 500,000. So
Wow.
that's
Yeah.
I was 8 when I moved out of there, so that was like 38 years ago, like almost 40 years. Um,
Griffo. Griffo, I didn't know you were in Portugal. He made the point of that's interesting. He said Michael Jordan being the prime example of Portugal, where I'm from, never gave two shits about basketball. MJ shows up and all of a sudden schools have clubs. Yeah. I Portugal, I was out in the Azores. That was so beautiful out there and Portuguese food. I was digging digging that. I didn't know you were from Portugal. That's cool. Thanks for joining again.
Is it with Portugal? There's only like two football teams out there, really. In Lisbon and Porto, I think.
Every time I think of anywhere, all I do is think of food. I was in Portugal. I'm like, oh, what's he eating right now? Like, what's the like the worst? Anytime someone says anything about another country, like my first thought is, well, what do they have, or what are you eating, or like what's going on out there? Do I need a Portuguese roof again?
Yeah, but yeah, yeah, it's not getting better out there, unfortunately. And you know, if the thing is like with billionaires, for example, billionaires is not a good barometer to how well a country is doing having billionaires because they've got all the money.
Yeah, yeah,
The thing is if you was earning $1 every minute, after 4 months you'd be a millionaire.
yeah,
So $1 a minute every day,
yeah,
4 months, you'll have $1 million. If you had $1 a day, it would take you 344 years to become a
yeah.
billionaire. And
It's
that's
the
the thing. People
scale.
don't realize just how big and billions have been downgraded because a English billion used to be a million million.
Yeah.
And you went to America, obviously, as you became more and more, you
Hmm.
know, we call 1,000 million a billion. So 1,000 million is a billion, but it still take you a dollar a minute every day for 344 years to attain that level. And that's, they're not investing it into the country. Like when like Jeff Bezos says, "Oh, I'm doing this charity thing," it's going to be like, I'm giving £1 million or £10 million. That's like a week's profit.
Well, and now they're all just buying all the news places. They're buying all the companies. They're buying. And it's like, and to me, it's like, I I don't even like. I'm not even one who like is all. Oh, I'm against the rich. It's like it's just like it's human nature, and it's almost like gravity. It's like wherever you have something that keeps coagulating, so it's like money by its nature is going to coagulate into the hands of some few people. You know what I mean? And it like it's almost the impossible quandary of like, oh, okay, it's like yeah, if you remove it from them, the power is then just concentrated in a different group, and it's kind of like it's almost just like to me when I look at like you look at all the histories and what happened with people, it's like man, as soon as you reach like a certain point, it's like just humanity doesn't gel the same anymore. You know what I mean? It's like as it evolves, it's like okay, it shifted, and now something new needs to happen. So it has like a release valve, you know. And it's just like I don't know what any of that means, but it's just like anywhere you look, it's like okay, well, you know, and I don't even think these are like the worst times. I'm like, I look at before when like everyone's just straight up, you know, dude, they put like 40,000 people and like take all their right hands and be like, all right, next. You know what I mean? It was like you'd line up people and just do it. So it's like, okay, I'm still living in like the gifted age where that stuff's not as common as it used to be, you know, but it's like, on the same hand, you look around, it's like, okay, well, where's all this going and where, like, I'm so lucky. Like I feel like I was alive at the right time. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, I was in this little cushy spot in a little cushy country at this time, and although I think it's like half dilapidating, it's still like, all right, you're at least here, and you know, you're okay in that thing. You're not like fighting in some war zone when you're born and all that shit.
Yeah, but as it's, that's war makes money, and I think obviously from World War II, like because England was fucked.
Oh God, yeah, it was like a straight war, dude.
Yeah. Uh, the money that we borrowed and the services that we purchased from the Americans, we only paid that off about 15 years ago.
Yeah,
And the other thing is like with um, like slavery, right? England have only recently paid off the debt that because they basically banned slavery back in the like 1800s or something like that, and they
yeah,
basically decided to buy all the slaves that are in England, their freedom and other stuff. Basically,
yeah.
they basically said like, no more slavery. These people don't deserve it. Blah 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 blah. And they basically bought out all the slave owners and all that sort of stuff. And we've only just, and that was the whole country. Obviously, all the money was going towards paying off that debt as well. And it's just when you hear about it, what do you mean? It was like 120 years ago. We've only just finished paying it. What was you paying it off? Like 50p a week?
Yeah.
The interest rate. That, but it's just crazy when you hear about these sort of things. But yeah, all these wars that have gone off and are still going. I can't remember there was a time when there was a single year where there was a bit of peace. There's always something going on.
Oh yeah, something's always half kicking off and all that, man.
But you get the big business. War is big business. There's no two ways about it.
Oh yeah. I like my imaginary war and a paint over. That's as
good. Yeah, like a grim dark of the dark future.
Yeah,
it's no better out then. Or actually, no, it slightly is. To be fair, in some respects, when you like they don't have sort of intolerance towards different sexes in the 45.
Like looking for the bright spot in the grim dark.
Or race. There's no sort of racism.
They'll throw anyone into the meat grinder. It's cool.
Yeah, we're all fighting tyrannids.
Yeah, we don't discriminate at the meat grinder door.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. As long as you can fire a las rifle.
Yeah, can you pull a trigger? You're in.
Yeah, congratulations. Either that, or you'll end up in some underhive pulling out plops out of a bucket.
I know. Could you imagine? And then, it makes you think, I think of how close World War II was, and then you just look back at, what was going on even, 100, 200 years ago, and you just see this massive leap of everything. What's in another 200 years? What does that look like, man? What kind of,
years ago, it was Napoleon.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And it's there's so many things. I span the internet. You know what I mean? I saw the internet spring up and change everything and whatever. And it's what is going to go on in the next 200 years? Oh man.
Well, as I say, if you've got what's his face, Bezos and Branson going off into space, because that's the thing. Because if you make space a commercial enterprise, we'll be up there within weeks.
Oh yeah, everyone let's go on a vacation in space.
Well, it's not just vacations; it's basically start mining the asteroid belt.
Oh, they'll do that for sure.
Moon bases, all that sort of stuff. If you basically just said, "All right, corporations, throw your money into your research and stuff like that," and they'll be gone.
Dude, and this was the bummer about humanity. So it's they'll be oh yeah, we're gonna go here. I'm okay, yeah, there's gonna be landmines on the moon. The first thing will be mines on Mars, and people will be they'll be all weaponizing it and okay, if we put this giant trebuchet on the moon, we can hit Earth.
Yeah, those moon dwellers, they're the worst.
Yeah, and it's I don't even know what kind of bigotry would be formed against moon people, but they'll have some term, and it'll be some no matter what. Yeah, dude, there'll be bigotry towards the Mars people, and it's dudes.
Well, it's if you ever watch The Expanse,
I love that show. Yeah,
Martians are called dusters.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
The belters that live in the asteroid belt are skinnies because they're all slim, sort of thing. And then you got the Earthers, which were the I can't remember what the derogatory name for them were.
It wasn't not the I don't know what it was.
Well, they're inners, but they also have they do have a derogatory term.
Yeah.
Which I can't remember.
Yeah, but that's coming. They'll evolve to get to Mars, but we can't evolve to not hate people who live on a different place or whatever.
No, it's in our nature, unfortunately. But there was something going on how humanity operates as it is now, sort of thing. Going out there mining and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I remember that I done a Facebook post years and years ago They're basically, oh yeah, we'll go out, we'll leave the cradle of Earth, we'll colonize, the solar system, and then eventually we'll head off and we'll move out and expand out ever more into
Yeah,
the
yeah.
glorious night that is the Milky Way. And eventually we will come along to a planet much like the 20th century Earth, and we will be the people from Independence Day.
Yeah.
Because that's what's going to happen. That's how we will evolve. We'll basically just go around, strip mining everything. It's all about resources at the end of the day, because you know, we can't just manage to basically
Oh, and
maintain it.
the first thing we're gonna do on some new planet is start trashing it. Like, you know what I mean? They're like, go to Mars, like, hey man, how about before trashing another planet, why don't you figure out how to like take care of the one you're on first? I'm always like, they're like all two steps ahead. I'm like, hey, how about you just sort this out first and then go trash another planet later? Like, you know what I mean? It's like they have no, it's like, hey, we just gotta escape. And I'm like, I get it, but it's just funny to me.
Well, that's the thing. Is like the one thing, like the whole universe, the premise it is based on is recycling, right? Because
Yeah. Oh
I know
yeah.
that you sit there and you go like, well, stars they burn and then they explode and all that. Well, it's like plants; they're scattering minerals, resources, heavy metals, and all that sort of jazz. Gases, what is released in the conversion of their fiery hearts. But black holes, everyone goes, "Oh, black hole comes along, just tears away, you know, suns, eats them, and planets, and crushes and all that."
Yeah.
But they have these two big jets that come out the other side, which is basically spreading all that shit everywhere. You
Yeah,
know,
there's some of it escapes because it's getting yeah, I read on that.
it basically just gets
You see
torn
them,
up.
you see that stuff going out. Yeah.
Yeah, and it gets like, sent out into the galaxy, and obviously the galaxy doesn't move fast. It takes us so many million years to do one lap of the Milky Way. Um, even at the speeds that we are going at. And if we can grab a hold of the idea that maybe we should try to look after the environment we're in, because we're here at the moment. There isn't another planet in close proximity like Earth. So let's take care of this place for a little bit more,
The
and then
only
we can.
way this is going to be solved is if more people buy paintovers. Is what I'm getting. What I gathered from this whole talk is that the only way this is going to work out is if more people buy paintovers and join artistempire.com, because we're not going to kill anyone. Like, we're the good empire. It's like, what is it? Wasn't like Google and they like don't be evil or whatever? I gotta call with something for like the artist empire. We won't kill anyone.
Yeah.
The good empire.
We don't promise not to kill anyone.
Yeah. Like, wait, yeah, maybe I should rethink my branding. Like, empire always gets a bad name because of all the shit they do. I'm like, wait. uh,
Wanted to chime in on your relation to high population and aggressive people. That's why I left the city of 187,000 for one of 3,200. Glad to be out of there already. Yeah,
yeah, there is something about that's why I do notice, like, when I'm up more in the country and stuff, I do way decompress. And I'm not even bad. Like, I'm not around. My day to day isn't like going through a ton of people and everything, but it is like it's a different energy when I'm around. More just, I don't know, like more people like in the countryside or whatever. Just seems a lot more down low key. Join,
that's true.
join us. We'll try not to kill anyone. cut to the dark future where someone has an AE logo and forgot what it even means, and they're out like,
Gunfights in the
yeah,
streets.
gunfire in the street with an AE logo. Oh gosh, I
Yeah.
couldn't even prevent that.
What is this war started about? I
Yeah,
don't know.
what is this thing? What does this
I
thing
think somebody
mean?
cancelled their subscription or something.
Yeah.
Short changed me on a Ko-Fi.
Yeah, but he says people are just as nasty in the country. Yeah, but there's less of them. That's the only thing. It's diluted. It's diluted by some leaves. Join
Yeah.
us. I'm still laughing at join us. We'll try not to kill anyone. Yeah. And then I'm going to a couple more of these. I'm going to work on them on Sundays. I want to do a couple more that were submitted today. And then I don't know what happened. I don't know why the dog didn't come get me. So I'm going to have to go check on him shortly.
So Illuminati just says people are just as nasty in the country. Now,
Yeah.
when I think of the country, I think of rolling hills, wheat fields, trees, bushes, sort of thing. Stuff that you would see in Watership Down, for example.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, maybe without the bloodshed. When
So, of
when
course,
you
it goes to Watership Down. That's
say
not a
in
good
the country,
example.
all I can think about is Burt Reynolds canoeing in the Appalachian Mountains
Yeah, yeah.
and banjos. So, one person's country is a different person's country.
Totally.
Yeah. Ding 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 ding.
Yeah, you don't want to. Was it play a game of Ned Beatty? Wasn't Ned Beatty in that? You don't want to end up playing a game of Ned Beatty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Doing guitar solos with banjo players. That's not the way to go about things. Or squealing like pigs.
And you said you are streaming on Saturday?
Yes. This actually, yeah. Thinking about it, this Saturday I'll be streaming, but the following Saturday I won't because I'll be at the Titan Walk or driving home from said Titan Walk.
Oh.
So I probably won't be on because I'll probably be a little bit tired because I'll wake up early to get up to said venue and then kick some traitors' ass with my Titans and then celebrate in their faces and then head back. Small town
Yeah, you
deliverance,
guys.
yeah.
Oh, so everyone, I don't know everybody, just whatever. Do something, take care of yourself, get some exercise. I don't know. We all have to kind of get ready for winter. And it has been so draining on everybody. You know what I mean? It's like I'm like surprised people are doing as good as they are actually. So it's like, oh gosh, if there's anything I kind of, I don't know, 'cause it's gonna be long, and that's why I'm like, I started exercising a lot more. I'm like, okay, dude, start getting into it because you know how it is with winter, and then you're not gonna feel like doing much and all that. So, oh boy. So remember to save society, buy a paint over, subscribe to Artist Empire on Patreon. Like that's the way we can all make the world a better place.
It seems so simple when you say it like that.
Yeah, it's really easy. And wait, what's the slogan? Oh, join us. We'll try not to kill anyone.
Now you have to do that on some artwork with a little banner on top of the.
Yeah. See, I haven't read. Even they said I haven't read in a while. I used to read a lot, and I still own a shit ton of books that I read. Now I don't. I think it's partly attention span. And I had audiobooks and I liked them. What's weird is I listen to them a lot when I'm drawing, but then when I get into the drawing and I have to like focus on something, I miss out on some of it. You know what I mean? So like I'll go back a few times. So I might listen to like a chapter twice or whatever. I need to plug
Have
that
you
in
have
again.
you done any audiobooks recently at all?
I bought like three of them. Two, I bought like three or four. A couple I bought mistakes. I think I have like four of them. I bought one with a Titan that I think you brought up. I have one that is like, I think it's the Underhive kind of mysteries. I have one that's from like, was it Gortrek or Gort? How do you say his name? The dwarf.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Gortrek.
one from him coming back, I think, and then one other one mixed in there. That I tried to get like a little variety. You know what I mean? I wanted to see like just kind of what's been going on in a few of the worlds. So
Right. So probably I think the one that you might have got if it's got Titans, it's either going to be Mechanicum or Mortis.
yeah,
Or maybe Titan Death, actually, Titan Death, because Mortis I've only done semi recently. Now, with Right. The Siege of Terror books you can pretty much listen to because they're a self-contained type thing within the Horus Heresy.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know bad guys are going to Terror, and you know what's
Yeah,
going to.
yeah, you get the general gist.
Siege of Terror series is really good. You know, it might make more sense if you have the sort of background of all the stuff from the
Yeah.
Heresy series, but it's still sort of enjoyable as it is.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on the 40k side of things, in the current timeline, obviously you've got like Guy Haley's sort of like Indomitus and the Avenging Sun and all that sort of
Yeah.
business sort of thing, which are good sort of, you know, letting you know what's happening on Terra with Gulliman, you know, setting up the Indomitus Crusade with all the Primaris and all that sort of stuff. On the flip side,
Which book is that again? Say that book again.
it was like Indomitus, I think it was.
Okay, so maybe I should look into that one just to get. I did pick up. So I listened to. It was Call, and then he was messing around with the Necrons, and so I got some of that and like how the Primaris were made, and I wanted to listen to some of his stuff because I wanted. So I got a little bit of the info from what's been going on in that book.
Yeah, cool is always cool.
Yeah.
I really like him. He's actually because he started to feature in some of the later Heresy books. Because obviously he's from the Heresy era.
Yeah.
And he's been around for a long time. But yeah, as I said, the one that I will not stop banging on about is Spear of the Emperor, because that's after the Cicatrix Maledictum had ripped its way across the galaxy, splitting it in two. It's one of the only books which focuses on the other side. So in the Dark Imperium, where it is all dark.
Okay, I will have to. So that I'm gonna give one of those a go. I'm gonna plug one in again this week and catch up on some of that, because I do enjoy them. The puppy did start his little barking thing, so I'm gonna go handle him. I think we will just call it. We've been at like 2 hours, Lee. It's been good. I needed this.
Good.
It's so weird that like internet people, I mean, you're more than internet people to me now, but just in general, a bunch of randos that I met on the internet are like my bright spot in life. I'm like, I was laughing because I talked to someone. I'm like, what does that mean? Like, I'll hear people be like, oh gosh, Twitter, it's so this. I'm like, hey, Twitter's my bright spot. I go, what kind of life are you living when going on Twitter is your bright spot in life?
Well, to be fair, like there are places or people that we follow, and there is a lot of shit that comes up.
Yeah.
I just surf across the surface in most cases. I'm lucky that I don't follow a lot of sort of like twats.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, the people that I follow are actually pretty decent in most cases. They might have little moments. Everyone has moments,
Mm-hmm.
but it's yeah. Sometimes I'm just wondering, like, where the hell do you go on Twitter to get so riled up? I don't know.
Well,
Yeah,
thanks everyone. Thanks for everyone for joining us. This was a lot of fun. I needed this. Thanks for Griffo stopping by, Erus. Um, there's going to be a couple. I'll work Griffo. I'll probably end up doing yours on Sunday. I already have it on here, so I'll be doing a couple more. I gotta knock a bunch of these out just to like shake some rust off or something. I feel like just a little off with my paint over game, and it's bumming me out. So I'm gonna get over that. So you all have a good one. Lee, any closing words?
People are twats.
Yeah, and remember, join the Empire, because wait, what is it? Join us. We'll try not to kill anyone. See, how is that? How can you go wrong?
That's all spoken on the back.
That's a good slogan. All right, you guys and girls, have a good evening.